The security cameras at McKenna Tower caught everything. There, on the 20th floor, Amara stood in front of the company's main server room at 3 a.m., holding a small flash drive in her shaking hand. Her best friend Zola lay unconscious on the floor beside her, a coffee cup shattered on the ground. What Amara was about to do would either make her the most successful woman in Lagos or destroy everything she had ever worked for. She took one deep breath, inserted the flash drive into the computer, and pressed enter. But let me take you back to where this all began, 6 months earlier. Amara Okonkwo was a quiet woman who worked at Data Hub Solutions, the biggest technology company in Lagos, Nigeria. She lived in a small apartment in Yoba with her younger sister Nkechi, who was sick with an illness that required expensive medicine every month. Their parents had died 3 years ago, and Amara was the only one who could take care of Nkechi. Every morning, Amara woke up at 5 o'clock, made breakfast for her sister, gave her the medicine, and took 2 buses to reach her office. She worked as a junior data analyst, which meant she looked at numbers on computers all day and made reports for her bosses. The pay was not great, but it was enough to buy food and Nkechi's medicine. Amara had been working at Data Hub for 4 years. She was smart, very smart. Everyone knew it. But somehow, she never got promoted. Every time a senior position opened up, someone else got it. Someone who knew the right people. Someone whose family had money. Someone who went to expensive schools. Amara's manager was a woman named Mrs. Adeyemi, a tall woman with sharp eyes who wore expensive jewelry and drove a Mercedes. Mrs. Adeyemi had 3 favorites in the office, Zola, Kwame, and Binta. These 3 always got the best projects, the biggest bonuses, and all the praise during meetings. Zola was Amara's desk neighbor. They had become friends over the years, eating lunch together and sharing stories about their lives. Zola came from a wealthy family in Victoria Island. Her father owned several businesses, and she had studied at universities in America. Zola was beautiful, confident, and everyone liked her. She was kind to Amara and often brought her expensive snacks from the fancy bakery near her house. Kwame was the son of a retired government official. He was loud and made jokes all the time. He never did much work, but somehow his projects always turned out perfect. That was because he had other people do his work for him, but nobody ever said anything about it. Binta was Mrs. Adeyemi's niece. She had only been working at Data Hub for 1 year, but she was already being considered for a manager position. Binta was not mean, but she was not friendly either. She kept to herself and acted like she was better than everyone else. One Tuesday morning, Mrs. Adeyemi called a meeting. Everyone gathered in the conference room. Mrs. Adeyemi smiled and said, "I have exciting news. Our company has won a contract with Tech Africa International. This is the biggest deal in our company's history. We will create a new data management system for all their offices across Africa. The team that leads this project will receive a promotion and a bonus of 50 million naira. 50 million naira. Amara's heart jumped. That money could pay for Nkechi's medicine for 10 years. Maybe even find a doctor who could cure her completely. Mrs. Adeyemi continued, "I will be choosing 3 team leaders for this project. You have 1 month to submit your proposals. Show me your best ideas. The 3 best proposals will be selected." For the first time in years, Amara felt hope burning in her chest. This was her chance. She would work harder than anyone else. She would create the best proposal Mrs. Adeyemi had ever seen. That night, Amara barely slept. She filled notebooks with ideas. She researched everything about Tech Africa International. She studied their problems, their needs, their goals. She worked every night until midnight, then woke up at dawn to work some more. Zola noticed Amara's dedication. "You are working so hard," Zola said one day, putting a hand on Amara's shoulder. "I am also preparing my proposal. May the best woman win, right?" Amara smiled. "Yes, may the best woman win." 3 weeks passed. Amara had created something amazing. Her proposal was 100 pages long, filled with charts, graphs, and solutions. She had found problems that nobody else had even noticed. She had created a system that would save Tech Africa millions of dollars. She was proud. For the first time in her life, she knew she had created something truly special. The day before the deadline, Amara saved her proposal on her computer and on a backup drive. She was so excited she could barely eat. Nkechi noticed her sister's happiness. "You are glowing," Nkechi said, smiling from her bed. "Something good is coming for you. I can feel it." The next morning, Amara arrived at work early. She wanted to print her proposal and bind it in a nice folder before submitting it to Mrs. Adeyemi. But when she turned on her computer, her stomach dropped. The proposal file was gone. Amara's hands started shaking. She searched everywhere. She checked her backup drive. Empty. She checked her email. Nothing. She checked the company cloud storage. Deleted. Her proposal had vanished. Panic filled her chest. She had 1 hour before the deadline. 1 hour to recreate weeks of work. It was impossible. Then she heard laughter from Mrs. Adeyemi's office. Amara walked slowly toward the sound. Through the glass window, she saw Mrs. Adeyemi sitting with Zola, Kwame, and Binta. They were looking at papers and smiling. Mrs. Adeyemi's voice carried through the door. "Zola, this proposal is exceptional. This is exactly what Tech Africa needs. You have done brilliant work." Amara's blood went cold. She pushed open the door. Everyone looked at her. "Mrs. Adeyemi," Amara said, her voice shaking. "That proposal, those are my ideas." The room went silent. Zola's face changed. The kindness disappeared from her eyes. "Amara, what are you talking about?" "This is my proposal. I have been working on it for weeks." "You deleted my files," Amara whispered. "You stole my work." Mrs. Adeyemi stood up, her face angry. "Amara, these are serious accusations. Do you have any proof?" Amara's mind raced. Proof. She needed proof. But everything was gone. I saved it yesterday. It was all there. Someone deleted everything." Kwame laughed. "Maybe you forgot to save it properly. That is not Zola's fault." Mrs. Adeyemi's voice was cold. "Amara, go back to your desk. If you cannot submit a proposal, then you cannot compete. Do not make excuses and blame others for your mistakes." Amara felt tears burning in her eyes, but she refused to cry. Not here. Not in front of them. She walked back to her desk, her whole body numb. That night, Amara sat in her apartment, staring at the wall. Nkechi was asleep. The medicine bottle sat on the table, almost empty. In 2 weeks, they would need to buy more. But there was not enough money. Amara had always been honest. She had always followed the rules. She had always believed that hard work would be rewarded. But she had been wrong. The world did not reward honest people. It rewarded people who were willing to do anything to win. Something changed inside Amara that night. Something dark and desperate. She made a decision. If they wanted to play dirty, she would play dirtier. She would get that promotion. She would get that money. No matter what it took. Over the next 2 weeks, Amara became a different person. She smiled at Zola during the day, pretending nothing was wrong. She ate lunch with her, laughed at her jokes, acted like they were still friends. But at night, Amara was planning. She discovered that Zola kept all her important work files on her personal laptop, which she brought to the office every day. Amara also learned that Kwame had been buying his project reports from a freelancer online. And Binta had been leaking company secrets to her boyfriend, who worked for a rival company. Amara collected evidence. Screenshots. Emails. Recordings. She had power now. The power to destroy all three of them. But that was not enough. Amara wanted more than revenge. She wanted the promotion. She wanted the money. She wanted everyone to finally see how brilliant she was. That was when she discovered something interesting in the company system. Data Hub Solutions had a secret project. A project that Mrs. Adeyemi and the senior managers were hiding from everyone. It was a program that could access any company's data without permission. If Tech Africa knew about this illegal program, they would cancel the contract immediately. They might even sue Data Hub. Amara realized something. If she could get proof of this secret project and threaten to expose it, she could force Mrs. Adeyemi to give her the promotion. It was blackmail. It was illegal. It was everything Amara had never been. But her sister was dying. And nobody else was going to help them. One Friday night, Amara stayed late at the office. She told everyone she was finishing a report. One by one, her coworkers left. The office became quiet. Amara walked to the server room on the 20th floor. She had stolen an access card from the IT department earlier that week. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might explode. She opened the door and went inside. The servers hummed around her, their lights blinking in the darkness. She connected her laptop and started copying files. Evidence of the illegal program. Emails between managers. Everything she needed. Then she heard footsteps. Amara froze. The door opened. Zola stood there, her eyes wide with shock. Amara. What are you doing? Chapter 2. Amara's mind went blank. She stood there, her laptop still connected to the server, the progress bar showing 70% complete. Zola's eyes moved from Amara's face to the laptop screen, and Amara watched as understanding spread across her former friend's face. You are stealing company files, Zola whispered. Amara, do you know what they will do to you? They will send you to prison. Amara's hand hovered over her laptop. Just 30% more. She needed 30 more seconds. You stole from me first, Amara said quietly. You took my proposal. My ideas. My chance. Zola's face hardened. That proposal was mine. You cannot prove anything. I know it was you, Zola. You were the only person I told about my ideas. You were my friend. I trusted you. For a moment, something like guilt flashed in Zola's eyes. But then it was gone. Step away from that computer, Amara. Right now. If you stop, I will not tell anyone about this. We can both forget this happened. 80% complete. I cannot do that, Amara said. My sister is dying. I need that promotion. I need that money. So you are going to blackmail the company? Amara, this is not you. You are a good person. Do not throw your life away. 90% complete. Zola started walking toward her. I am calling security right now. Amara saw Zola reach for her phone. Without thinking, Amara grabbed the coffee cup sitting on the desk beside her. It was still half full, left there by one of the IT workers. Do not make that call, Amara said, her voice shaking. Zola looked at her, and for the first time, Amara saw fear in her eyes. What are you going to do? Hit me. You are not violent, Amara. Put the cup down. 95% complete. Zola's fingers moved across her phone screen. Amara did not think. She just acted. She threw the coffee at Zola, trying to knock the phone out of her hand. But her aim was off. The cup hit Zola in the face. Zola stumbled backward, her foot caught on a computer cable, and she fell hard. Her head made a terrible sound when it hit the edge of the metal desk. Zola collapsed to the floor and did not move. "Zola," Amara whispered. "Zola." 100% complete. Download finished. But Amara did not care about that anymore. She dropped to her knees beside Zola. There was blood on the floor, spreading from the back of Zola's head. Amara put her shaking fingers on Zola's neck. There was a pulse. Weak, but there. Zola was alive. Unconscious, but alive. Amara's whole body was shaking now. What had she done? She had hurt someone. She had become the very thing she hated. She looked at the security camera in the corner of the room. It was recording everything. Amara had two choices. She could call for help, confess everything, and go to prison. Or she could finish what she started. She thought about Kechi, lying in bed at home, getting weaker every day. She thought about the medicine they could not afford. She thought about watching her sister die slowly because Amara was too weak to do what needed to be done. Amara stood up. She pulled the flash drive from her laptop and put it in her pocket. Then she went to the security system and deleted the last 30 minutes of footage from all the cameras on the 20th floor. She called an ambulance from the office phone, disguising her voice. "Someone is hurt at McKenna Tower, 20th floor. Please hurry." Then she hung up. She took the elevator down to the lobby, walked out of the building, and went home. That night, Amara did not sleep. She sat in her living room, the flash drive in her hand, waiting for the police to knock on her door. But they never came. The next morning, her phone rang. It was Mrs. Adeyemi. "Amara, there has been an accident. Zola fell and hit her head at the office last night. She is in the hospital. The doctors say she will recover, but she will be in the hospital for at least 2 weeks. I need you to take over her responsibilities for the Tech Africa project." Amara could barely speak. "Me?" "Yes. You are the only one who understands data analysis well enough. I know you and Zola had some disagreement, but I need you to be professional. Can you do that?" "Yes, Mrs. Adeyemi." "Good. Come to my office on Monday. We will discuss the details." Amara hung up the phone. She should have felt guilty. She should have felt terrible about what happened to Zola. But all she felt was relief. An opportunity. On Monday morning, Amara arrived at the office early. She wore her best clothes and carried a new leather folder. Inside the folder was a proposal. Not the one Zola had stolen. A new one. Better than before. Mrs. Adeyemi's office was on the top floor, with windows overlooking all of Lagos. Amara had never been invited up here before. "Sit down, Amara," Mrs. Adeyemi said, not looking up from her computer. "I am sending you the files for the Tech Africa project. You will work with Kwame and Binta. They will be the senior leaders, and you will assist them." Amara's heart sank. "Assist them? But I thought..." "You thought what?" "That you would lead the project." Mrs. Adeyemi finally looked at her, one eyebrow raised. "Amara, you are a junior analyst. You do not have the experience or the connections for this kind of responsibility. Be grateful I am even letting you participate." The old Amara would have nodded and said thank you. The old Amara would have accepted her place and walked quietly in the background. But the old Amara was gone. "Mrs. Adeyemi," Amara said calmly. "I think you should reconsider." Mrs. Adeyemi looked surprised. "Excuse me." Amara pulled out the flash drive from her pocket and placed it on the desk. "This contains information about DataHub's secret data extraction program. The illegal one that you and the senior managers have been using to spy on competitor companies." All the color drained from Mrs. Adeyemi's face. "If Tech Africa discovers this program exists, they will cancel the contract immediately," Amara continued. They might even sue us. And the government might investigate. I imagine some people could go to prison. Mrs. Adeyemi's voice was ice cold. Are you threatening me, Amara? No, Amara said. I am negotiating. I want to lead the Tech Africa project. I want the promotion. I want the bonus. And I want a permanent senior position with a salary of 15 million naira per year. You are insane. I could have you arrested right now. You could try. But I have already sent copies of these files to 3 different email addresses with instructions. If anything happens to me, those emails will be automatically forwarded to Tech Africa, to the newspapers, and to the police. It was a lie, but Mrs. Adeyemi did not know that. The 2 women stared at each other. Finally, Mrs. Adeyemi spoke. If I agree to this, that flash drive and all copies belong to me. Once I receive my first paycheck in my new position, yes. Mrs. Adeyemi was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. You will start as senior project lead next week. I will inform Kwame and Binta that there has been a change in leadership. Amara stood up, her legs somehow still steady even though her heart was racing. Thank you, Mrs. Adeyemi. You will not regret this. As Amara walked out of the office, she felt like she was floating. She had done it. She had actually done it. The next 3 months were like a dream. Amara moved into a bigger apartment with Nkechi. She hired a private doctor for her sister. She bought new clothes and a small car. She was somebody now. People respected her. People listened when she spoke. The Tech Africa project was a massive success. Amara's ideas impressed everyone. Tech Africa's CEO personally called to thank her. Data Hub Solutions was making more money than ever before. But Amara could not enjoy it. Not really. Every night, she dreamed about Zola falling. She heard the sound of Zola's head hitting the desk over and over again. She woke up sweating, her heart pounding. Zola had recovered and returned to work, but she was different now. Quieter. She did not remember what happened in the server room that night. The doctors said the head injury had caused some memory loss. Zola remembered entering the office building that evening but nothing after that. Sometimes Amara caught Zola staring at her from across the office, a confused expression on her face, as if she was trying to remember something important. One Friday evening, 4 months after the incident, Amara was working late again. Most people had gone home. She was preparing a presentation for Monday when she had a knock on her office door. It was Zola. Can I talk to you? Zola asked. Amara's stomach tightened. Of course. Sit down. Zola sat across from her, studying Amara's face. Something has been bothering me for months. I cannot remember what happened the night I got hurt. But I keep having these dreams. And in the dreams, you are there. Amara kept her face calm. Dreams are just dreams, Zola. The doctor said you might have strange memories because of the injury. Maybe, Zola said. But I have been thinking about other things too. About my proposal that you said I stole. And about how quickly you got promoted after my accident. And about how you suddenly had all this power over Mrs. Adeyemi. What are you saying? I am saying that I went back and looked at my old files. The proposal I submitted for Tech Africa. I found an earlier version saved on my computer from 2 months before I submitted it. And it is different. Simpler. Not as good. Zola leaned forward. But the version I submitted was exactly like what you described. All your ideas. Which means someone must have changed my files. Someone must have copied your work onto my computer. Amara's blood went cold. At first I thought maybe I had stolen from you without realizing it, Zola continued. That maybe I had seen your notes and copied them accidentally. But then I thought, why would I do that? I barely knew you. We only became friends later. I do not understand what you are trying to say, Zola. I think someone hacked my computer. I think someone copied your proposal onto my laptop and deleted your original files. And I think that same person wanted me to get in trouble so they could take my place. Zola's eyes were hard now. I think you did all of this, Amara. I think you framed me. Before Amara could respond, the office lights suddenly went out. The computer screens went black. The entire building was dark except for the emergency exit lights. Both women stood up, confused. Then they heard an alarm. Not the fire alarm. Something else. The security breach alarm. Amara's office door burst open. 3 security guards stood there with flashlights. Behind them was Mrs. Adeyemi and 2 police officers. Mrs. Adeyemi's face was twisted with rage. "Arrest her," she said, pointing at Amara. "What is happening?" Amara asked, her voice shaking. One of the police officers stepped forward. "Amara Okonkwo, you are under arrest for corporate espionage, theft of company property, and assault." "Assault? I never." "We have footage," Mrs. Adeyemi interrupted. "The security system does a backup to an external server every night. A backup you did not know about. We have video of everything that happened in the server room the night Zola was injured. We have watched you steal company files. We have watched you attack Zola. We have watched you delete the security footage." Amara felt the words spinning. But you agreed. We made a deal." Mrs. Adeyemi smiled coldly. "Did we? I have no memory of any deal." "Perhaps you are confused. Perhaps the stress of your crimes has affected your mind." The police officer pulled out handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent." As the cold metal closed around Amara's wrist, she looked at Zola. Zola was staring at her with a mixture of sadness and disappointment. "I really thought we were friends," Zola said quietly. "I would have helped you if you had just asked. I would have shared the bonus with you. But you chose to lie. You chose to hurt me. You chose to become a thief." They led Amara out of the office in handcuffs. Her coworkers stood in the hallway, watching. Some looked shocked. Some looked satisfied. All of them were judging her. As Amara sat in the back of the police car, watching McKenna Tower disappear behind her, she finally understood the truth. She had sworn to outshine everyone at work. She had done the unthinkable to make it happen. And now she had lost everything.